There's a lot of investors in this league. One investor, been trying to keep quiet about, his investment in the league ever since his comments that he made about a young rookie. Pretty much, had him in the headlines for about a month and a half. That is Geno Auriemma, dog. I'm here to tell you, he's part owner of this league.
Remember when Geno Auriemma doubted Caitlin Clark's ability to succeed in the WNBA? Well, fate has an interesting way of proving people wrong. The so-called basketball guru is now watching his once unshakable legacy unravel. And now, the very player he dismissed holds the key to turning it all around. But she's not stepping in to play.
I said earlier, they actually had odds that, she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be MVP of the WNBA. That's such a slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable, right?
Hard to believe, right? It's a perfect example of actions coming full circle. Auriemma's criticism is now backfiring, reflected in sinking ratings and major financial setbacks. Meanwhile, Clark is out there shattering records in the WNBA, proving him wrong at every turn. Now that's a plot twist.
We got an update on the unrivaled ratings for last Friday night, and well, as you can expect, they unraveled, as I like to say. Not good. I mean, we're basically at half the ratings now of the debut week.
Some people just have a knack for making the wrong calls, and Geno is putting on a masterclass. The UConn coach, fueled by his college success, was convinced Unrivaled would be his next big win. But let's be real, this investment is quickly spiraling into a full-blown catastrophe.
However, we've got an update here from one of the owners of the Unrivaled, and let's be real, this league will not make it if they don't get Caitlin Clark involved. And I think they realize that.
Picture this, Auriemma, brimming with confidence, bets big on a new women's basketball league. He's convinced his influence guarantees success, believing everything he touches in the sport turns to gold. But here's the catch, the league's survival hinges on star power, and guess who's not stepping on the court? That's right, none other than Caitlin Clark.
You guys don't remember? Asia Reese said she was also the draw. Did you guys forget about that? The hottest woman basketball player on the planet isn't involved in the Unrivaled, and weeks in, ratings are down under 100,000 viewers. So where's the lie? What am I missing?
Auriemma is probably pacing his office, eyes glued to the viewership numbers, and they're not just low, they're disastrously low. We're talking a plunge from 300,000 viewers to barely hitting 100,000. That's the equivalent of going from Madison Square Garden to a neighborhood rec center. It's a free fall that has everyone involved breaking into a cold sweat.
Like Geno Auriemma could be the reason why Caitlin Clark is definitely not joining the Unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league.
But Auriemma isn't the only one feeling the pressure. The other investors are starting to panic too. This isn't just his problem anymore. It's a full-scale financial meltdown. What once seemed like a brilliant business model on paper is now crumbling like a house of cards in the middle of a storm.
To back up the Brinks truck. I mean, I know they offered her $1 million, which I think was roughly like 3 times what I think most of these players are getting. I think they've got to get much bigger. I think they got to give her $10 million to play in this thing. I know some people will laugh at that, but you've got no chance of turning a profit if you don't get Caitlin Clark involved in this league.
You have to wonder what was running through Auriemma's mind when he signed those checks. Did he really believe he could build a thriving league without the star power of players like Caitlin Clark? It's like trying to make a blockbuster without any A-list actors, no matter how good the script is. Who's going to buy tickets? And speaking of Clark, her decision to pass on Unrivaled's offer is looking more brilliant by the day. They reportedly waved over $1 million at her for just an 8-week season. Serious money. But Clark saw the bigger picture. She knew her worth and exactly where she wanted to leave her mark in the WNBA.
Not going to get the ratings, which in turn is not going to give you the revenue. The advertisers won't be there, right? You got to think about this.
Auriemma's investment is starting to look riskier than a half-court shot at the buzzer. You can almost picture him watching Clark dominate the WNBA, realizing she could have been the lifeline Unrivaled desperately needed. That's got to sting. especially considering how much he's criticized her in the past. But let's talk numbers for a moment. Just how much did he pour into this venture? We're talking about the kind of money that could buy a private island or fund countless college scholarships. You have to wonder if he's rethinking some of those comments he made about Clark. All that doubt, all that criticism, yet now she's thriving while his investment crumbles. It's like watching a live-action lesson in karma unfold on the basketball court.
Some of y'all were very happy that she's not doing Unrivaled, as to stick it to the people who treated her poorly.
But here's the truth. This entire situation is revealing a major flaw in how some people perceive women's basketball. Auriemma and the other Unrivaled backers believed they could simply throw money at the problem and build a successful league overnight. They underestimated the value of true star power and overestimated their own ability to draw in top-tier talent.
Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing. Zero zip, nothing.
Remember when everyone assumed Caitlin Clark was about to strike it rich with Unrivaled? Well, plot twist, she turned them down. And it wasn't just about the money. There's a bigger story here, one that Geno Auriemma and his investor group never saw coming.
Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Not I.
Imagine this. Unrivaled offers Caitlin Clark a deal so lucrative, most people would quit their jobs without a second thought. We're talking 7 figures for just a few weeks of play. Sounds like an easy yes, right? But Clark wasn't interested. And trust me, this is about much more than just a big paycheck. Let's rewind for a second. Remember how Geno Auriemma couldn't stop talking about Clark? Well, those comments haven't exactly aged like fine wine. In fact, they've turned into some seriously sour grapes for him.
Delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's 3rd or 4th in betting odds on being MVP at the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning.
Auriemma once claimed Clark wasn't built for the physicality of pro basketball. Fast forward to her rookie season, and she's not just holding her own, she's dominating. We're talking 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. That's not just impressive, it's historic. Now, imagine being in Clark's shoes. You just finished one of the greatest college careers ever. You're lighting up the WNBA, and suddenly, the same guy who doubted you wants you to bail out this struggling league. Talk about awkward.
Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
Has decided not to do Unrivaled, even though Aaliyah Boston's doing it, Lexi Hull is doing it, Kate Martin is doing it, and despite all the rumors, and I'm sure the push that was put on her. But Clark has all the leverage in this situation, and I'm not saying she flexed it, but she was comfortable enough in her position to make the decision. And it appears that answer is no.
I gotta ask you a basketball question. I know that you work really hard in the off season. You said yesterday you're always trying to get better. What's the thing that you're working on in this off season?
I think, honestly, besides the actual basketball skill part of it, I think getting stronger. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm in the weight room a lot, just building that strength. Obviously, it was hard going right from the college season to the professional season. You don't get to spend a lot of time in the weight room. So that's what I've tried to focus on the most here. And then obviously, a lot of things on the court. I'm always wanting to get better, and that's kind of what drives me, and I love it. I love getting to do it, and I feel very fortunate that it's my job.
Unrivaled. Phantom versus the Lunar Owls. Please rename all of these teams. A .16. You guys know what that translates to? 160,000 viewers. The Unrivaled. Mist versus Rose. 160,000 viewers. Not good. All right, not good.